Welcome back to TactX. This technical practice uses 14 players and focuses on working in small units on either side of the pitch. So before we go into the practice, I just want you to show you the 4 key areas that we would go after if we was delivering this practice. So first of all, we'd look at the support. So individual and collective movements away from the ball. We'd work on this to try paint as many pictures as we can to help the centre-back have options to play forward. We'd then look at the decision making of the centre-back. Do they stay on the ball to try provoke the press? Or do they need to step in to create an overload while also trying to provoke the press as well? And then overall we'd look at the pass detail, whether that's breaking lines or whether we're setting up link passes but making sure that their passes are playable. So let's have a look at the practice and how we break it down from 11v11. So we have 2 areas set up on either side of the pitch, working in small units. So the Reds have a centre-back, a full-back, a midfielder and a wide forward. Their objective is to move the ball into the end zone via a pass or dribble, and that must be a pass into a player arriving into the end zone. The Blues are set up with a full-back, midfielder and wide forward, so creating that 3v3 in wide areas. Their objective is to win the ball playing to the coach for a point. If the advanced red players take the ball from the centre-back and work their way into the end zone without recycling it back through the centre-back, then they achieve 2 points. Now we know because of the practice design that it's very difficult to keep achieving that, so they will need to use the centre-back quite a lot within the practice, which helps us then go after our detail. The first thing that we're going to look at is a support player away from the ball. Now we would look at that individually or collectively. We use 9 individual movements, but for the purpose of this practice, because we're linking it to Arsenal, we're just going to look at the collective movements, so 2 rotations. That's clockwise and anti-clockwise. The 2 challenges that we'd give the players away from the ball would be, can we get the timing right when we move? And also, can you get yourself into a position where you can receive a ground pass from the centre-back? So them subtle movements working together to create good passing angles, to break lines. Now within this practice, we decided to go with challenges rather than coaching points. So when we're using challenges, we'll step in, challenge the player, step away, and then see how that player takes that challenge on. So in this scenario, the centre-back decided to stay on the ball, which then provoked the press. If the press is a good press, then the centre-back needs to look for link passes, and that's where the pass detail comes in, trying to make sure the passes are playable. Does it have the right weight? And is it at the right side for the player to play first time into the free player? If the press is not a very good press and you can see that direct pass into the free player, punch the ball into the back foot and allow them to progress. If the opposition are staying in their structure, then that's the opportunity for the centre-back to start to step in and fix a player to create the same scenario from what we've just seen, but higher up the pitch. This also allows the team to create a 4v3 scenario. So if you imagine in a game, they've switched the play, the 9's out of play, and then the centre-back can step in and create that 4v3 scenario. So that's just a simple technical practice taken out of 11v11 format. If we're looking at the practice structure, you can pause this and have a read through, but it's everything that we've just spoke about. Key thing to look at here is the area sizes. So if you're wanting more success, keep the area big. And then if you're wanting to make it harder for your team or the red team, then you just make the area smaller so there's less space to play. This will also be dictated depending on the physical load that you'll be trying to get out of that practice as well. Some of the simple stresses, the first 2 is we could work with the opposition and ask them to be more aggressive, or we might have a coach who's working with them. We can change them from a man-to-man to zonal. So again, if we were working against a specific team, we might have analysed them and recognised that they play zonal or man-to-man, so we can link that to our game plan. This also changes the performance problems as well for our team. And then that progress with the centre-back stepping in is up to you. So sometimes we'd start this practice by just getting the centre-back staying on that bottom line and working the passes, and then build up to allowing the centre-back to go in. But that's up to you. And then the physical load is just adjusting the area sizes depending on what physical outcome you want. And then going back to that first slide that I showed you, did we go through the supporting movements from the players away from the ball? Did we have a look at the detail of the centre-back of when they're staying on the ball to try and provoke the pressure? Did we look at the detail when the centre-back's stepping in? And then what was there like with their pass detail? And just a reminder that the technical practice is part of a full session. So we go from the technical practice into the skill practice, which brings both sides of the pitch together, so more connections, allowing the team to also switch the play. Then leads into the game practice, which is 11v11, all focusing on how Arsenal create the attack through Gabriel and Saliba. And I just want to finish off by saying thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon.